evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Lab broadcast of the 3-hour loaded series. We're out on race number 3, Richmond UCI. Of course, I got Dave Toll next to me. I'm Nathan Guerra, and this is going to be a fast race out here today. 400 plus signed up in all of the categories. We got GC points. We've got sprint points on the line. 2 laps UCI Richmond is a very, very difficult course, Dave.
It is as tough as it gets. This is the course that's really started the legend for, well, actually, you know what? I wouldn't say started, confirmed the legend for Peter Sagan. This was the first of his world championships there in 2015, one of my all-time favorite courses. And certainly over these 2 laps, we're going to sort a lot of things out here. I wouldn't expect a big group going to the line. Nathan, you mentioned the numbers have been tremendous. There's only so many men that are going to make that selection. It's going to be in all 4 categories. And I should add, there's some brave women, I believe, jumping in here as well as we look through our start list for all 4 categories. We are locked and spring loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing back in Richmond. I'm stoked, Nathan. This is my favorite hour of the week coming up right here.
And riders are just getting out on course. Real quick mention as we do jump in with the riders as they do leave the pens of the series as it is standing. We'll bring in live graphics next week for the series standings. We're working on that a little bit, but the GC right now currently being led out by Brian Hodges and the Evoke crew. Adam Zimmerman there sitting in second place, 144.54, 144.55 are the current times in the standings right now. Leandro Messinil, though, for Team GF is currently sitting in third place. Tied though, up with Adam Zimmerman. So Team Evoke obviously showing up, the U.S.-based team, looking to try and take down this series. And that would be quite the accomplishment for them. They've been on the radar for a while, but they have not been leading a series for quite a while. They've had to deal with the Vikings, Callis, as well as obviously always looking at the Canyon ZCC team. So having them out there right now in the leader's jersey, is going to be somebody, obviously Zimmerman and Hodges is going to be the ones to watch out for. Now, they are punchier climbers and as well as sprinters. But this may suit them, this course, because of the reality of the 3 climbs in succession of each other. Looking at Libby Street, 23rd into Governors. Very, very difficult finish. 2 laps out here. Now, it's going to be very calm, though, up front as we hit these flatter sections, though, Dave.
Championships back in 2015. This was where we saw Chloe Dygert have her amazing run. It was really, that was back when she was a junior and won 2 rainbow jerseys at this World. So I wanted to go a little deeper into that top 10 because this is where legends are made, no doubt about it. Spencer Segabruch is up there. So they're tied on. Now we're talking about GC. We scored this on points and GC, as you well know, Nathan. There's a bunch of riders sitting on that 1 hour, 44 minutes and 55 seconds. Zimmerman, Messinil, Segabruch, and then adding James Hodges in there as well. Scott Gleason sitting up in the top 10. Johan Gren, Brett Boniface, Matt Brandt, and Highwill Davies rounding out our top 10 on GC. And you only go back 3 seconds to get to, and actually I should add James Cartledge, he's on the same time as Davies there. So 11 riders within 3 seconds of the overall lead after 2 stages of racing, I guess, or 2 days of racing. It really depends on how you look at this. It is a 6-race series. This is the 3rd race. We're in Richmond. 32K of racing total for this group. Just getting going as we're watching the A's right now, Nathan. I mentioned 2 laps, 16 kilometers on this. Those 3 different climbs come at you like 3 body blows from Muhammad Ali, going from Libby to Governors in 23rd.
100%. And, this little bit of an uphill climb here in just a moment, it's just a small grading as they hit these flatter sections. Is a little bit of a threat that they just went on through, with the little bit of a cobbles. They're going to be looking at the sprint section coming up here. I wonder if anybody's going to seriously go through it now or go for the sprint. Always interesting to see if they do. But looking at the guest riders out here today, and a new sponsor that did come on board with the series is Vitus. And they do bring a couple of riders each and every day to the race. So it's good to see the UCI Conti team jumping in here with Vitus. And today we do have, it looks like, Tom Mazzone, Adam Kenway, and Christopher McGlinchey all jumping into the race. So we'll be keeping our eyes out for them as the guest riders on the day. I do believe I did see a couple of the pro jerseys in and amongst the group here just a moment ago. So in real life versus the esports team. Ovet is also out there as well there from coming out of Australia. So it looks like it's not just going to be the Vitus Pro team. So it looks like a few others have jumped out here. We also have a Jimmy Half Whalen. From what I'm seeing, if that's is that the, I'm not sure if I know of Jimmy here, but he also has a pro bad jersey next to his name. So we'll have to take a look through the live results here and see who is jumping in over at zwiftpower.com.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at it because almost like an omnium, right? You have some riders. I was looking, and I believe Cormac McGeough is back in the race. He's only done one, however, so he's not going to be up there when you look at the overall rankings, whether it's GC or points that we're talking about. GC, obviously time-based, lowest amount of time when you add them all up is going to be your leader, versus the exact opposite when you talk about points, where you're looking to garner as many as you possibly can. Nathan, I'm just going to jump over super quickly and take a look at that 3R spring-loaded race series on points. You could do the same thing by heading on over to Zwift Power yourself. It's Brian Hodges, the American, who's leading right now with 72 points. Jesse Riley is on 66 points, pretty solidly in second, and then the Canadian Luke Gilbolt sitting at 62 points in third. I'll just run down the rest of the top 10. Some familiar names: Kevin Chapman, Adam Zimmerman, Leandro Messanillo, Michael Volts, Sticky, Alessandro Barra, and Mark Swatton. These are the riders that make up your top 10. Some of them are tied on points right now. But again, that gives you a good feel over 2 days of racing here on the Vitus Spring-Loaded Series. Brian Hodges is the man to beat in that competition. We've got a long way to go. However, not only in the series, this is the third race in a 6-race series, but they're just 4.6K in, and they haven't hit the trickier sectors of the course here.
Now, if you think that this has been an easy race so far, the reality is that the start of these races are insane, and this has not been a slow pace whatsoever. We're looking at the front here, 324 watts just to sit around 7th to 12th place as the riders continue to make their way to the front and rotate through. The start of this race has been 5 watts per kilogram on average amongst all of the riders here. We're seeing it all in the reds here for the current average all the way through. I mean, I'm seeing some of the riders already hanging out around the 5.6 markers. And so, I mean, this has been crazy fast. Yes, it's a flatter section of the course, but to hang on amongst the speed that the boys are holding out here, it's been a tough day already with 85, as you can see, in and amongst the pack. And I think the reality is, with so many strong riders showing up on the day here, there's a reality of the speed just continues to build on top of itself because everyone's trying to find a good position. You sit too far back when we start hitting a couple of these sections, anybody lets a wheel go at all, and it can be game over very, very quick. I did see, I believe, Canyon ZCC toward the back of this group here. I did not realize that Vyasa may be jumping in, but I did see a familiar avatar in there. Be interesting to see if Lionel is going to be able to grab his alt out here on the UCI Richmond course. I did not hear his name in that top 10, so perhaps just jumping in for an exhibition for him today to try and grab a little bit of TV time and another result in the legs.
Yeah, this is such a competitive group to race with. I've come to really enjoy these races and this crew every week. Hodges and company always put on a show. Look at Luke Gilbolt as well, the Canadian rider. You don't go through half of a race like this before he becomes a factor, no doubt. I think he's laying low right now, keeping the powder dry. The reality that this is going to be a very challenging second half of this lap. And Nathan, you make that point. I no longer feel a need because after you've been watching these races for more than a dozen times, you realize these guys start harder than any of the disciplines in cycling that I've ever encountered. You can talk about whether it's cyclocross or mountain bike, World Cup level. No one goes harder for the first 5 minutes than an esports racer. So establishing that the reality of that, it's something that you just have to build into your skill set. The ability to go that hard off the line. Obviously, riders come in incredibly warmed up. That's one of the first reality sandwiches that you get served when you go from real world racing. You can be a world tour rider if you're not amped and hyped when the flag drops at the start line, I mean, already rolling for a few seconds, you're going to have to fight to find even anywhere near the front of the group. These guys keep the accelerator down on the floorboard, no doubt about it. We've got 4 different categories out racing. Nathan, we'll focus on the A's here. It's going to go by very quickly. I mean, they're already, imagine this. I feel like we just rolled out a few minutes ago, 8.5 minutes ago, and we've already done almost 7.5K of racing here.
Being told by Patrick English coming on into the broadcast over in chat, giving us a little bit of assistance with Jimmy Halfwheeling, as letting us know that maybe a rider who rides for EF. So we'll have to wait and see if we can get confirmation. We're going to see if we can find that rider in the Zwift Power list, as it's hidden behind the avatar at this point. Dave was talking about his frustration with the name prior to the broadcast, and once in a while, we've got a mix. It does get frustrating as commentators, but at the same time, there is the gaming fun sense to it. So there's 2 different sides to the coin. As commentators, we're like, who is this person? We want to know who you are and what's going on in real life. And at the same time, there's this fun side that people like to have their spirit animal represent them, maybe when it's the poison dart frog. But now we know that that's Leandro Messinillo, and he's made a name for him. Jimmy Halfwheeling, we'll have to wait and see if we can figure out who the gamer is out here today on the bike.
My point being, you can't really have a nickname until we know your name first, right? But we'll figure that all out for sure. I always remember, Nathan, the good old days of the 24-hour races down in Moab, or they were all over Canaan or whatever it was. But some of the teams had some incredibly creative names, but you weren't able to say them over the microphone always. At least names like Sticky. What can you do, right? So anyways, at this point, we can joke around, Nathan, because we can breathe. A lot of guys here are going to be really feeling like someone's got their foot on their windpipe out there right now looking at this group. So there's Halfwheeling that you were talking about. So again, you wonder what we're going to see when the fireworks really go down. Every race has its moment. I'm not sure when we're going to see that decisive moment in this race, but there's certainly going to be some selections coming up as we look at this hyper competitive group. Nathan, you always look at the watts per kilo, right? I mean, and at no point are these guys dropping below 4. If you want to move up, you got to go up into the stratosphere and put it up near 6 for a little bit to even try to think about moving up in this group. Pretty similar to what it's like racing in a very, very motivated group. Now, if this were the World Championship road race, which if you go back to the professional men, it was like 240K. That certainly didn't start out this way. That was a day that actually Ben King from Virginia, who's been with the formerly the Dimension Data team, now NTT. He's been ridden on this course on Zwift quite a bit. Can you imagine being in a breakaway in basically your hometown on that day? We'll see if anybody's going to be able to pull that off here. But Nathan, what's the point in breaking away when the peloton is rolling at 5K per watts per kilogram, basically, as we just hit 10K in, or a third of the way? This race isn't going to take much more than 34 minutes before it's put paid.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fast start, obviously, to this race so far. And seeing in and amongst these riders, there is some talent in here that could make something happen. We did see it happen with Lionel Sanders, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, riding as a guest rider. And now I believe riding for Canyon ZCC. Lionel Sanders is a triathlete, broke away with a lap to go. But it was on a different course. It was on a little bit different course. All it did was hit the climb. So there is a shorter course that only hits Libby. It hits Libby 23rd and Governors, and takes a quick right-hand turn immediately after the lap finish banner, and then goes right back on into the climbs. And he broke away, was almost caught, and then broke away with 3, ended up dropping them on Libby, and then held on to the line in perfect fashion of just holding that last second. Samuel Brandon almost catching him. So it is possible, but on this course, it's going to have to go with a few more than just 3, I think, to get through those flatter sections with enough speed to hold off a field that is as stacked as this one is currently right now. Quick little shout out. I am seeing Cameron Jeffers making his return, it looks like, to the world of Zwift racing. Good to see Cam. Obviously, a little bit of controversy last year around the rider here, but it's good to see him back from the Wahoo team here out and rocking it. I'm wondering if WLC has showed up with quite a few riders, perhaps. I'll take a couple, and it does look like Laverick as well as Boomin, and it looks like Jeffers is going to be jumping in. I'd be watching out for them for a result out there today. They're top-ranked riders, 187, 176, all within, I believe, the top at least 200 to 300 ranks of riders out on Zwift. So definitely Jeffers to be one watching out for. Laverick also, I've been seeing him live streaming a lot of his training recently, doing some crazy challenges actually with some of the climbs out on Zwift. So Laverick, Jeffers, Boomin, they're going to be ones that be looking for results, I think, and looking to put their name back into the world of Zwift racing esports here. So good, big welcome after being served a suspension, and bygones be bygones in my opinion, especially around that whole situation. And said and done, and good to have Cameron back.
All right. Checking in with our friend Tim Rugg. Have you been following his progress virtually? He's somewhere in Wyoming, I think, right now, Nathan, as we watch
my gosh,
Grupo
Tim.
Compacto. He has been struggling, though. He mentioned his undercarriage, which was not an ideal scenario.
Nice way to put it there, Tim. But, I jumped on the bike last night, and I'm finally starting to feel well enough to ride. And I jumped in with Tim, and I thought I was just going to be doing a quick little, as we head into Libby here in just a second, but just real quick, I thought we were just going to be doing just a little spin last night. I ended up racing on the Bologna course, but I jumped in with him for 20 minutes and it really cheered him up. He said, man, I saw you out here, and I was in a dark place. He said it was really rough just a few moments ago, and just having you jump in here and ride with me, and he said it really lightened up his day. If you guys want to support Tim, it'd be really great. Get out there. He's been doing interviews with a lot of pro riders through his Discord. You can jump in there with him. I'm going to see if I can get him live, perhaps in the next couple of days if he continues on. I hope he does. It sounds like he's really committed, but, maybe get a couple of those pro riders alongside of him and just have a chat about what he's up to, why he's up to it. Race Across America virtually. It's absolute insanity. And I didn't, I don't think anybody could recognize what indoor riding, especially if not fully accustomed to it, can do to a body over time. And so it sounds like he's really pushing through, though. Boniface, though, over the top now as we're getting into the racing now. And it looks like this is the first selection. Brett Boniface now from the dropout team, being followed by Ovid here. Ovid now over the top here. In Real Life Pro here, it looks like trying to take over. Brandlin follows it up. Dempster's there from the draft team. It looks like Dempster is holding tight. Now, that's a rider to definitely watch out for on this course. He always seems to love this course specifically. Bowman now making his way through for the Wahoo team, and then Pater there from the Dutch racing team able to jump on. Sensor Sagerbrook coming from Turbo. Now Pierre Ficati winning on this course for the first in real life esports team event ever. Actually in Las Vegas. One in a breakaway situation with 1 lap to go, broke away, beating Shane Miller, the GP Llama, to the line. Can Pierre Ficati do it? He's riding for the new team, Timothy Ruggs' team, actually. Bad News Bears have picked up Pierre Ficati. So another Canuck jumping onto a new esports team.
So Waylon has made this group. All right, more guys are coming back now. Again, this comes at you body blow after body blow after body blow. It's such a selective part of the course. I mean, this is it. As you mentioned, there's going to be a group that comes out of this. It's all hands on deck right now. This cobbled sector is absolutely brutal on Zwift or IRL in real life. They can't quite split the group. A lot of guys are bearing down by the skin of their teeth. They're holding on. It's starting to string out here. This is bike racing at its very best. I mean, we're still not even halfway into this race. A big moment right here, right now. Who's going to make this move? There's going to be a split. It looks like we might be down to, well, a lot of guys, Nathan, are hanging on right now. Boniface lit the fuse. This group has turned into, well, it's going to be hard to tell. It's not going to be long until they come back through the start-finish area. I'm going to guess more riders than not hanging on that first time through that barrage of climbs here. Wow, great action
look
there.
Look at the KISS racing team making the way to the front now, as you can see, taking over, playing it smart. It looks like they were able to come through and really tactically, it's all about timing, if you can even think about timing. And those are the riders who are going to have control of the race. If they have their wits about them still and can kind of position themselves, even amongst efforts like that, to use the slingshots, use the tactics in this game, and be able to come rolling through with a lot of speed, there's still that element to this kind of bike racing here. Look at the split, though. Interesting to see. Pretty serious situation here. Jeffers off the back here now. Cameron makes his return, but 195. Was there a dropout? Unexpected situation here. It looks like Cam Jeffers now in support of his riders, so it does look like Laverick and Bowman were able to make that front group. Boniface on the back here as they hit Governor Street. Jeffers is going to be waiting up perhaps for Dan J from the dropouts, as well as Ellis and Stevie Young, these are some names. I mean, this has obviously been an insanity pace. I did see Liam Bard in the chat saying that no, it has not not been easy so far. This is absolute insanity of a pace, obviously, with this kind of talent dropping off. Stevie Young, Cam Jeffers, Peter Kemper, they're now making it, though. It looks like Austin Feld there in the mix now with Evoke. Has all the Evoke boys made it? It does look like McGinty now from Vitus now, one of the sponsors of the race. Now, for those of you who are wondering how that is all working out here, Vitus is putting up swag and for everybody who participates. So if you are registered on Zwift Power, and it looks like Baginski here now, after those efforts, says they may be done. Pushing 7.7 here. He let it go for a moment. I think that was just a little bit inattentiveness, actually. 9.6 watts per kilogram, looking to get back on, but big shout out to Christopher as he is trying to get back on to the pack. But Vitus, again, they're going to be putting up swag at the end of the series on participation. So make sure to be jumping into the race and register on Zwift Power. Those participation, those who do participate will be watched and be selected from randomly for the swag that is coming from Vitus. So pretty awesome for them to sponsor the race out here in conjunction with 3R and jumping the riders in here as well. Now making his way to the front, it looks like it's going to be, is that back off the front actually from Indoor Specialists making themselves known. Holden Communities in here as well. Watch out for him, but Chris Beck now giving a little go, and this is that style I was talking about from Lionel Sanders. We've seen, it's interesting, this course, it seems to favor this kind of a situation because of those 3 punches, and then you have that Governor Street that really just kind of puts the nail in the coffin a little bit. And if anybody has anything left, you attack over the top with speed on this flatter section. You've got this 1% uphill gradient, then it gets flat, and then there's another little kick into the cobbles. You can break away because people are really suffering just to hang on any speed at this point, and the flat gives you that opportunity to really crank it up a little bit as far as the higher speeds go, and that's when you can really put some distance between yourself and other riders if they're completely blown. You can see the riders blowing off the back here, actually, Dave.
Yeah, so I wanted to give a shout out Nico de Muiter, who is the voice of the Tour of Flanders, one of the most popular race announcers in Europe. Absolutely an honor to have him joining us, and he's shouting out Lionel Viassen, the national Belgian Zwift champion. So really cool to know that we've got those eyeballs watching this race. So Lionel right up in this front group. We mentioned Spencer Segerbruch, who's sitting up in the top 10, both on GC and in points in this 6-race series. You know, it's nice to see McGlinchey, the Irishman, Christopher McGlinchey, fight his way back up into the group. He should be comfortable. There he is, comfortably tucked up in the group right now as we're looking at really the first selection that's happened out here on lap number 1. They're out on lap 2 now. It's business time here in Richmond, Virginia. As let's take a look at some of the other riders to watch. It looks like all the big names that we get really familiar with are here. Clearly, Brett Boniface, the Canadian, who's also been sitting up in the top 10. Better than that, actually. This man is a perennial podium contender in any race that he does on Zwift. So, you know, they whittled this one down, Nathan, no doubt about it. But still, you look around, you take some inventory, and you realize we are far from having anyone that's a clear favorite or even close to that. There's Messinino, the Argentinian assassin in this group, a very, very dangerous rider that we've really come to notice over the last couple of months of racing. As there's been a real
situation. Is that a dropout here? Laverick, perhaps? Oh, he just dropped to the back there. 12. Yes, Laverick had a dropout. Ed Laverick from WLC, one of the strongest riders in the field. I'd be watching out for him. Have seen him break away before. I believe on the Innsbruck ring, Laverick was able to take a wing and with a breakaway going into the final lap. But Laverick, if we see him off the back, WLC will no longer be involved, I believe. Maybe Bourbon's still here. I'm still looking through. Now, Evoke, the current leaders in the series, have everyone from the Evoke team made the front group? I'm seeing Ostenfeld, but he is not in the top spots. It's going to be Zimmerman and Hodges that we're looking for. Have they made this group here is going to be the question.
Definitely Zimmerman did, and Hodges. They're both in here, actually. So, yeah, those are two of the big names, two of the Americans that we'd be, well, I guess it depends which Hodges you're talking about, right? I think Brian and James both out racing again here today, Nathan?
Yeah, but different teams, but James going to be riding for the KISS racing team. Big shout out to James Hodges, one of the stalwart supporters of the Zwift community, helping to run ZwiftPower.com, obviously. But the
Brian Hodges, the other Hodges.
Brian Hodges. I'm looking through the live results here now. It does look like Ostenfeld, though, off the back, perhaps in support of his teammates, because I'm looking through and I'm not seeing Where is Brian Hodges? Has they been dropped off from this pack? And that is going to leave
James Hodges right there.
James is here in the KISS Racing kit, but it looks
Right.
like perhaps Brian and Zimmerman have been caught out with those initial attacks here. Vyazin has made it looks like here, but this is showing the quality of this field. The series leaders currently off the back, it looks like here. Evoke unable to make it. They're going to have to put in a huge effort here. Laverick, though, now giving a little bit of kick here. 8.4. This is a real attack here now. And as you can see, up into the orange numbers. And maybe a little bit of a mistake there with the heart rate on the day, or perhaps it dropped out. We'll see if he can get it back connected. He was having some sensor issues, it looked like, in the pain cave. We'll see if that does come back. Perhaps that's why we did see the drop out. He's looking to adjust the heart rate monitor. If it was picking it up at all throughout the race, they will most likely give a pass on that. A lot of times, if it does drop out during the race and it was seen that it was on during the race, especially in the community races, they'll say, okay, and we've seen it on before. We know that you're the real deal. It's mainly about the power profile. But Laverick here, 4:15. This is a real attack here. Steady, too. And if he gets 10 seconds, 15 seconds, this could stay away.
Yeah, and right now it's sitting right halfway to that, Nathan, about 7, 8 seconds. Make it 8 seconds to Hughes. I saw Luke G was up there chasing. All right, this man is a human wattage cottage right now. It shows you what it takes to break away. This is such a unique part of that Richmond course. So he's still hovering right around 7 watts per kilo. Talking about Laverick, this is just a few seconds in, but really impressive job. He's moving it up to 10, so just nudging it up over 10 seconds now. Let's see if he can get to that magic number of 15 that you were talking about. Lionel Vyazin, the Belgian, we were just talking about a moment ago. Vyazin is now coming up. Here we go. He's leading the chase. He's split from the group, Nathan. So Vyazin now is now leading. Oh boy, here we go. The race is on.
Gavin Hughes, WTRL, the Irishman now going across as well. Here comes Jimmy Halfwheel in as well, 8.3. There's the orange numbers we're looking for now, and it looks like the teams are not going to get organized behind. They're just keeping it steady, but they are not looking to chase this down. They're letting a few of these go. Vyazin backing off, though. Interesting to see. He needs to jump on this. Beck is going across now. Almost every team looking to get involved. I'm seeing Indoor Specialist, Canyon ZCC, WTRL's in there as well. We're seeing Laverick off the front still, and this is causing the mayhem. 6 seconds, holding steady now. 6.5 watts per kilogram right now coming from Laverick. Now, I was told, this is a great little shout out again, Patrick English, our essentially our chat analyst right now, letting us know he turned off the HR to try and keep the power dropouts from happening. So it sounds like heart rate monitor was on and working. Most likely watching Laverick's live stream, I would assume, over on YouTube or wherever that may be at, and was able to pick that information up. Appreciate it, Patrick, for the background information coming on in with some quick tips there. So great chat coming on through.
So we do have a World Tour rider in this field. Jimmy Whalen out of Australia, absolutely certified. He's an up-and-coming talent, but that's the Jimmy Half-Whalen that we're talking about right now. Absolutely watch out for the EF rider here. He's been very active up near the front of this group. That is always fun. You can just feel a little more energy when you hear about guys, that crossover, the cross-pollination happening. Continental, Pro Conti, and World Tour riders are just quietly slipping into these fields. But Jimmy Whalen, welcome. Good job out there. He's punching quite well in this group, I gotta say.
5.4 watts per kilogram punching so
cover,
far. I mean, he's absolutely hammering out here, actually. Needs to get, it says rider has not registered at zwiftpower.com yet, so we need him to get registered. Probably newer to the world of Zwift racing. Obviously, he rode London International race, Crit City race just recently, looks like. Did the Team Italy Super Velo, as well as Yorkshire Grand Prix. This is like racing from, so it looks like this is essentially a quarantine pickup of the world of Zwift racing, because looking at the Zwift Power profile, seeing starting on April 7th, he did the British Cycling Race Series and then has been racing almost every day since then. So most likely taking his peak road season into the world of Zwift racing. And how many are doing that? I mean, there's a couple of clients I work with that we're like, let's just do the peak in Zwift racing and we'll peak again later in the summer if things work out. So great to see him coming in and killing it.
We had our first ever World Tour winner of a Zwift race with that, an official Zwift Classics race, Tour of Bologna, happening. Great job on the coverage there by Rob Hatch and Matt Stevens, and Ashley Moolman, the South African, won that race with a $5,000 prize list as well. Congratulations to her. Yeah, that's really it was exciting race to watch as well. Just like the Ineos race was really exciting that Rowan Dennis won. I guess that's just a couple days ago, but it's really hard to keep track of time these days, isn't it? Well, I know one thing: these riders are going to be watching the clock because we're coming up on a little over 5 minutes of race. Well, a little more than that, I should say. But they're 23 and a half kilometers into a 32-kilometer race here. The second lap out, modified lap out in Richmond that we're looking at. This classic course, iconic in so many ways. But if you're part of the American cycling family, certainly this was a huge week on the timeline of racing. And this course always seems to sort out a worthy winner. We're having at it right now. This is our front group in the A race that we're looking at. Thanks again to Vitus for their coverage. They're Irishmen. Christopher should still be up in this group. I haven't noticed him hitting the front, but I haven't seen him coming out the back either. I don't think we've seen any riders really getting dropped over the last few K now as we brace ourselves with what's going to be another barrage coming up quickly. Front group, get ready. It's on like Donkey Kong over these next 3 climbs.
Yeah, we are seeing it's calmed down quite a bit as they prepare for those climbs to get going here in just a moment. We're going to have this little bit of a sprint section and then a left-hand turn on down toward the industrial park. They go along the river for just, a right-hand turn and then a left-hand turn and then head on down toward the river industrial park section. There's a little bump in there before they hit Libby Hill. A little bit of opportunity to maybe get a split if you want it. Laverick continues to be plagued by dropouts. It's so frustrating to see. I can see now up in 11 watts per kilogram, having to almost do lactate tolerance reps over and over again just to hang on here. And I'm seeing the chat saying riding with frustration. Go and give Laverick some shout outs, guys. Give him some encouragement if you can find his live stream. It's too bad to see. And plug in the trainers. Let's get some plug-in trainers, people, because the wireless seems, especially in these situations where there's a little bit more on the line, you really do need that esports consistency that we've seen in all the other esports. There are barely a situation. Well, I guess wireless mouses are kind of a thing, and but they are tested, tried, and true for years and years before they were released specifically to never have a single dropout. But plug him in, that's for sure. But McGoldrick now, a little bit of a kick off the front from the KISS Racing team. Otoma down from the Dutch racing team, shutting that down. Gavin Hughes making his way to the front there as well. We'll have to see how things play out. We're into the business end of the race here in just a moment, these last 3 climbs. And as far as predictions go, dropouts are showing up today here. Boniface along with Luke Gilbert, they're going to be ones to be watching out for. Tom Day's riding for them as well as Matt Wheeler, it looks like. But the ones who have made it, it's going to be the dropouts, I think, as well as the Bad News Bears. The 2 new teams are looking to make a name for themselves up against the perennials, indoor specialists, as well as the pro team showing up with Vitus out there today. The new black horse, obviously, out there is going to be Jamie Halfwheeland, though. Watch out for him, as I think he is going to be wanting to grab a result. Now, he has not taken a win, though, in the races I've seen him in for his profile over on Zwift Power, but perhaps with a little bit of extra pressure in the TV time today, we might see something from the rider.
We've set the table. Only one man licks his plate clean here in Richmond, and that would certainly be my guess. I got to give Adam Carr credit, the team Skyline rider. He's been really active up near the front, being pointed out to me by Ryan DeWald that he hasn't missed a split out here, doing a very good job. So good luck as here we go. Though I got to say, Adam Carr is going to be up for the battle of his life now, as it's very cool having a Whalen with us, talking about Jimmy Whalen again, the education first rider that's jumped in the field. And you're right, Nathan, the target is squarely on his back. But the reality is, by the time you hit that first arcing bend there at the bottom of Libby Hill, it's every man for himself at that point. You've got to channel your inner Eddie Merckx if you want to be winning out of this field. And this is it. Less than 5K of racing remaining. We're over half an hour out here. It has been brutal. These guys have not backed off at all. I think the largest split that we've seen goes up to about 10 seconds. A couple solo riders have tested themselves, and only for a couple of minutes before that was brought back into the fold. So here we go. These are the guys that have made the selection. We're going to find out who wants it the most here.
Now, I am seeing another rider out here today named Freddie Ovitt, actually. 5.1 watts per kilogram on average so far. He actually rides for Israel Startup Nation. So another
really?
UCI team in the ranks here.
Thank
Watch
you.
out for Freddie here. 4.2 watts per kilogram currently coming from him. Also an Australian. Perhaps a couple of DMs exchanged between him and Waylon prior to the race to jump in here. So as we do see him still steady in and amongst here, I have a feeling there's a few riders that have been reserving a lot in and amongst this group here so far, and we're going to see some absolute fireworks coming from riders that have been just waiting for this Libby Hill in just a moment here, and things are about to go all in, I believe. Chips on the table, betting for that river cart here after we take this left-hand turn. The train flying on by as they come by the industrial. This industrial park always the farewell to any kind of pleasantries on course. It is most definitely going to be nothing but haymaker after haymaker up Libby Hill into 23rd. The tactic is to get that gap if you can, rest on the extreme downhill, and then hit 23rd with every ounce you possibly can, because that is what is going to break, that doubling up in succession. If the riders cannot hang on, you could hold on to the line. But if you do not, there's this weird tactic in there where if you see riders coming back, do you continue on? Because Governor Street climb without any rest is a 2 minute or so, everything you got climb into a sprint effort. You can easily be caught by the group, caught out with anybody who sits in some wheels and gets that little bit of extra energy from sitting in the wheels that you can reserve even on these climbs.
If there's ever a moment that you either have it or you don't, it would be this sector of this World Championship circuit. You really described that well. There's really no chance to recover. Once you load up those legs with lactic acid, this is going to be very quickly here, they're going to be entering the bottom of Libby Hill. This was during the World Championships, this is where the majority of the crowd was gathering. The Norwegians were exceptional. The Colombians, there was so much energy here. And get ready for an absolute explosion as one rider now starting to eke his way off of the front. This is a solid tactic here if you can build up any kind of a padding, because if you go into the bottom of Libby Hill sitting more than 20 wheels back, you're going to have a lot of nastiness that you have to work through before you can get your nose up into the wind. And at that point, usually the winning move has already been made. So this is going to be Esterhuizen that we're looking at right now, the South African rider. That's the turn. And here we go. We've now lit the fuse.
Yep, Laverick making his way to the front now. 9.6 watts per kilogram coming from him. A serious attack, it looks like here. Dempster now following the wheel, making sure Laverick does not make any separation here. Bosch there from Dutch Racing. Herod there from Team Experimental. Liney Vosten's there as well, coming from Canyon ZCC. Riders now starting to fall off the back. The pressure is on. 29.5K in as they come over the top. Boniface now securing his spot at the front here, taking over that KOM as the climber he is, getting a ride on the dropouts. 172 beats per minute currently coming from Boniface now. Will he get some separation? Not going to be in his benefit, but he's going to press the pace here, and Ovitt now coming over the top as well. Israel Startup Nation is getting involved, it looks like, at the front here, as it's 2 seconds though. Dempster 3.0, he's going to back off. Boniface now continues on with only 3 seconds, but into this downhill with so many riders in that pack behind. Again, this is the tactical situation. He's going to get into a little bit more chill, I believe, here, and go ahead and coast downhill, because it's not going to be beneficial. Actually, if he doesn't get into this pack soon, they're going to come screaming by him, because they're going to build up speed that he will not have. This is not the ideal situation. He needed a lot more time than this. There's going to be a lot of speed coming by him, and he's going to have to really find a kick in order to get back involved over the top of 23rd Street in just a moment here. Speaking of those who sat in and waited for these moments, I'd be watching out for Brett Boniface, though. 4.5 watts per kilogram here for the duration. Some of the riders, Laverick, we're seeing Ovitt, all in the 5.2. So the riders who are a lot more familiar with the game here, maybe saving up and using that draft as best they can. 11 watts per kilogram coming from Samuel Brandon. He's won on this course many times before. Now here comes Boniface. Now 12 watts per kilogram. Barnes is at the front from Innovation. You can see Kemper's there as well. Who is the rider here? Is that going to be Laverick there coming through? Bowman's there as well, though. WLC now making their way to the front. Bosch taking over. And it's going to be Bosch here from Dutch Racing now in the tax kit now, coming through 196 per minute, but Frankie now over the top. Israel Startup. Israel Startup's taking over.
That's Ovid, and he's going to be a rider to watch, no doubt about it. Viasen is there at the Belgian Express trying to cover this move, but this is a World Tour hitter putting him on the ropes. But look at this, Nathan, up and over the top. It's Jimmy Whalen. We've been tipping him as a rider to watch, and he is delivering right now here on this World Championship course. We're witnessing a world-class ride. Okay, so Whalen, now Viasen is there. Body blow after body blow being thrown by these guys at the front. But Nathan, the Boniface is still there. Mazzioni is still there. Pure Piazzi is still there. There's an incredible number of riders still in the mix here. They cannot shake these guys. Unbelievable to see the depth of the field that we have here for the Vitus 3R spring-loaded. This is the third race. It's turning into an absolute Donnybrook here in Richmond.
Yeah, we do see Sagerbrook now starting to take over at the front. Sagerbrook's got a crazy sprint if he can hang on to the final 300 meters. Always watch out for Sagerbrook to take down a sprint. And this is a rider, a lot of the big sprinters have been dropped off. Brandlin always wanted to be watching out for a punchy sprint, but Sagerbrook is a little bit more of a pure power sprinter. If he can hang on over the top of this climb, watch out for him with a monstrous kick into the 1,000+ watch here. Ovate now trying to take over, it looks like, but Pierre Ficati is still in there. One on this course, obviously. See if he can get another one in the world of Richmond now. Viasen now taking over toward the front. It looks like it's going to be Messineo now. 8.1 watts per kilogram come from Messineo. Messineo, Viasen, both with that 9+ watts per kilogram for a moment. Dempster now taking over the front. Here comes Jimmy Halfwheelan making an early attack. No patience. Not going to be waiting for everybody else. Not going to be sitting in. He's going to make the action happen. They're covering it. Laverick knows that this is the time to go because Jimmy Halfwheelan's off the front. 1 second. Pierre Ficati now trying to hang on. This is going to be about attrition. This is not going to be about sitting in our wheels and waiting for a sprint. This is going to be about breaking everybody else, and that's what Jimmy Halfwheelan's doing. He is gone off the front. 9 watts per kilogram. Laverick's trying to respond. Will the pack chase him down? It's risky because when it flattens out, they can gain some speed, but around the corner, he did that in like 30 seconds. That was the craziest governor street I've ever seen in an esports race. 182 beats per minute. Kenny Hold. Oh, 3.6. Here they come, and the pack is screaming now, though, and Jimmy Halfwheelan just put way too many chips on the table. Laverick's coming through 7.8. It looks like they're going to catch him.
The finish line comes up very quickly here. That was a supernova. When you talk about the Australian Whalen getting caught now, the sprint will engage. They're going to go right by him. Jimmy, good try. The gamification out here has been fantastic.
Boniface.
But now we lock it down. Boniface is coming. That's going to be Brett Boniface. He's going to go. Here we are, Nathan, into the finale.
And Boniface now 14 watts per. Brandlin's got 18. Kenny Hold. Viasen's trying to come over the top. But Brandlin holds it. It looks like it's Brandlin. Brandlin at the line. He always finds the kick to the line at the end of this race. Boniface was trying to hang on. Evoke is nowhere in sight. We are going to see quite the change up, I think, in the series overall. Ovey off the back, as well as it looked like Jimmy Halfwheelan. The in real life pros had the watts per kilogram, that's for sure, but we did not see the result from the pure power that was out on course today from them. Wow, what an amazing race there. We're going to get to a live replay here in just a moment, as well as the results as they do populate for us out on the in just a moment here. We do have the results from this morning as well, so we'll bring those in from the other zones just so that we can give a shout out to those who took the wins in the A category for those as we wait for our results to refresh. But quick little look here though at the replay. We'll see how it played out at the line, then we'll get the results up for you as they do populate. But here we go. Let's see if we can grab this for you. And there it is. Here's the replay. And it looks like it was Lundqvist here leading things out for Team SZ. Dempster was sitting in at 10 watts per kilogram in quotes. Messineo. There's the kick from Boniface. I thought the 14 watts per kilogram was going to make it happen, but it looks like unable to hold on to the line though, as the second kick there coming from Brandlin was enough to come over the top. And it really is about that punch, especially in these shorter distances like that. That extreme punch there coming from Brandlin over the top there. Lundqvist now fading. Dempster fading. Viasen actually coming forward, as you can see, and then it's going to be Kemper from Dutch Racing. Actually was almost able, he might have nipped Viasen at the line here. Let's go ahead and see as they come to the line. Brandlin holds on, And then it's going to be Vyas second, and third, I believe, there for Kemper across the line. Bevan was in there as well for Army Racing. We'll have to wait and see what the results say over at zwiftpower.com, as we are still waiting for our results to load in. As soon as they do, we'll go ahead and move on over to those. But wow, what a race out there today. I mean, that was, as far as fields go, obviously things are really heating up in the world of Zwift racing, and these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday races, I'm not sure I've seen a race that stacked in, I would say, since Callis Cup. I mean, really, since Callis Cup.
Events are judged by the quality of their competition, and that speaks to the quality of your win, right? I mean, if you're the Swede Brandland, you have to feel tremendous about the fact that, I mean, you look at how competitive that A category is. There's been so much talk about sandbagging lately. Well, there's no sandbagging in the A's. I mean, we had 2 World Tour riders quietly jumping in, much respect to those guys, Ovett and Whelan. And they both played their cards. And ultimately, a classic Zwift racer who really knew the gamification out there and understood, I mean, how you, like, it's kind of hard to explain to someone who doesn't race, but you would expect after an effort that Jimmy made there that should be good enough for the win in anybody's book, but not on Zwift. These guys are relentless. They keep coming. The power of that group in the final 1 kilometer. I mean, Nathan, how many times in your career have you watched a strong rider put a good 5-6 second gap in with less than half a K to go and not hold on? It is
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, that was,
These guys
I thought it was happening. I definitely thought it was going to be happening, but obviously it was just a little bit too much from the field there coming on through in order to hang on. So amazing result there, though, all around from the community teams. Obviously, the experience coming from the community teams, I think, Dave, is what we're speaking to. There's just the reality that they know how to race the game. They know how to make it happen as far as that goes. So
Lionel Viassen getting up there again. I mean, again, perennial podium contender. This Belgian rider is one of the best racing on this platform right now, without a doubt.
Yeah. Now we're looking so our results are not populating, guys. Apologies on that. We have results from this morning, but I have a feeling that there's a lot going on out on Zwift right now. We're seeing, so it looks like we're having a temporary unavailable, please try again from zwiftpower.com. So, guys, there's just sometimes Zwift Power once in a while gets hit so many times at this time. It is a community website. It's not a Zwift owned website. It's a community run website. And as that this time of year, I mean, how many riders? What's our top, Dave? I think we saw like 35,000 was peak Zwift recently. And because of that, think about all of those people who are racing, jumping onto Zwift Power and pinging it over and over and over again. Most likely why we're having trouble bringing in the result. Here we go. We got them up. So I wasn't sure they were going to be coming at us soon enough, but it looks like let's go ahead and see if we can bring these on up over some gameplay here as we're watching D Horn here cool on down. Segerbrook is here as well, it looks like, so solid little cool down coming from him. And here is the result. Sam Brandler, it looks like, here from Team SZ with a 40-33. 0.09 seconds ahead of James Bevan, actually. Army Cycling snuck in there. That was the black jersey there. Brett Boniface able to hold on for third. I thought Vyas got third place, but it looks like Boniface able to sneak in there. Followed up by Vyas, Mick Kemper there from Dutch, Leandro Messinil, the Poison Dark Frog coming on through. Then it's going to be Matthias Lundqvist, Par Backer, then Luc Thiaubert, and then it's Freddie Ovett able to hang on there for that 10th place, and that's going to be the Israel Startup Nation UCI Pro Tour rider there, able to jump in. So there is your results for the Vitus 3R today.
Scored as a GC and a points series. So if you're interested, go to Zwift Power and you can follow along with all of the different categories there. But it's interesting when you look at that list of names. Those are the usual suspects that we're looking at. We're starting to identify who the real heavy hitters are out there. No surprises in that top 10 today. This Richmond course always brings out the best in our fields. That was a lot of fun, Nathan.
Yeah, great racing. Obviously, huge numbers out there today. Amazing workout, obviously, for all the riders. And that's one of the main things we like to chat about here is also everybody that was out there racing. There were 429 racers out there today. We were able to cover the A race out here today, which was a ton of fun. But there was a lot of people who went out, raced up against each other in the A's, the B's, the C category. Actually, let's give a quick shout out also to the results from this morning as well. There was, so we're going to head on over to Center Sequoias for that. But, we always like to make sure that we're shouting out to the other categories that were out there. This was this morning's results. Zakiyama there, as well as Don Alkaline, and it's Freddie over. Actually, Freddie racing twice today. Is that right? So he jumped in. That's right. Freddie, he raced twice out there today. So solid job out there, Freddie, getting a top 3 and then a top 10 in the primetime race. Then in the B category, you can see it was Robin Zune, followed up by Tom Knob, and then Ogie Uglethorpe. That's going to be this morning's zone for the top 3 in the B category. The C category, it is C.H. Polson, followed up by Marco Balsgard, and then Julian Brous there for that category. In the D category, you can then see Michael Kuhn, George Gillian, and then Sion Whiteside there. That is the situation between there. And then we can go ahead and see this is the results we just had. Let's see if the B's have finished it up, and it does look like for the B category, we do have Richard Shoebridge for Evo, followed up by Edit Z Sun R. That's going to be a Welshman, followed up by Luis Pinheiro. So nice job out there to the top 3 in the B category. In the C category today, no results for the C's or the D's just as of yet. So make sure to head on over to zwiftpower.com in order to catch those. All right, Dave. We'll be back tomorrow, Dave. We'll be back. Oh, sorry about that, guys. We got results over our face now. But we'll be back tonight, actually, for the Voler 3R. Yeah, tonight we've got the Volet, and we've got Team Tibco on the women's side of things. And it's going to be a pretty cool co-ed teams. They're going to be doing segments, battling up against each other specifically for segments on the Watopia Figure 8. So it's kind of going to be like doing a... what's the mountain bike? The mountain bike, my brain is not helping me out right now at all. But they're going to be doing segments that the best time for each segment, and riders on the mixed team are going to be going for their best time they could possibly get, but adding them all up. So it's going to be interesting to see the best time from each team on each segment, and different riders can go for each segment throughout the entirety of the race. Figure 8, it's a meetup. Check out volet.com/Zwift.
One of the great things is we're not really restricted by UCI guidelines. They've had a lot of fun, Brian, and that both of the teams involved, Mia Duele and Vivid, that have a great time helping craft new races. So big thanks to them. I'd like to thank today the Vitus team for coming out. Christopher McGlinchey and company for jumping in. What a strong field we had. I know everybody out there as we continue to work through all your various states of quarantine. I appreciate all the great attitudes. Nathan, this community remains super strong. So keep up the fun and ride on, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming out there. Make sure that if you want to check out our content, we have the schedule out for this week. It's on all of our socials. And we'll see you guys later tonight for the Voler, we're calling it? The Voler Tuesday Night Race Series. So we'll see you later tonight for the Voler Tuesday Night Race Series. See you later, everybody. Right on.